Hello everyone and welcome to another lockdown interview. Today I'm delighted to be joined by Harry Tanfield of AG2R. This is Harry's second season on the World Tour and he made quite a name for himself back in 2018 when he won the first stage of the Tour of Yorkshire, riding for Canyon Iceberg. Without further ado, here is the interview. Enjoy. How are you, Harry?
Yeah, good. Nice morning.
That's true. So, where are you right now? Are you back in Yorkshire or?
Yeah, it's back at home, North Yorkshire.
Is that where you're based when you're training as well?
Pretty much. I mean, I came home pretty much a month ago. Yeah, it was like literally a month ago now to the day. Came back from Spain, and I've just been in Spain for the last 3 months, from January to the end of March. Just north of Alicante, just on the coast there, just where everyone else, where all the cyclists kind of go. People who properly live in Spain either live in Andorra or they live in Girona. They don't live in Alicante. People that want to rent places and just stay there for a few months and they just, rent around that region. It's pretty good.
So how has the lockdown affected you in your training?
It was pretty shit in Spain. I mean, they introduced that, I think it was the 15th of March. So I flew on the 20th, so it was it was the middle of March when Spain announced that they were just like locking down kind of thing, and it was completely normal. And then the next day was just like literally absolutely everything was shut, and so we were stuck there, being this other guy that were out there. So we were stuck there for a whole like 5 days, 6 days of this of the proper lockdown out there, which was a bit. But it was raining as well, so, and if it rains in Spain, then don't typically go out on the bike, so it wasn't great, and we still got like 1 or 2 rides in on the first days, but we didn't risk it after that because they got harsher and harsher after like 2 or 3 days. Then there was really no reason for not knowing the situation. So when we got stopped, it was didn't want to risk getting a €600 fine.
You're now in a new team. You rode for Katusha last year, and now you're with AG2R.
Yeah.
The change in culture being.
Yeah, pretty different.
Like you're riding for a French team, that there's a lot of differences, or?
Yeah, I just had a call with my sports director this morning, actually. That was why it was. We put you back a little bit because he just called me this morning out of the blue. I haven't spoken to him for like 2 weeks, but I know the situation in France is a bit difficult, and I think it's like about 3 weeks from now they're able to go outside. At the moment, they can only exercise like within 1K of their house. So I'm just trying to inform me about what the situation was with the races and all that kind of thing. But obviously it's a very, very French cultured team, which is what you would expect from a French team. So, but I think that from what I can gather, over the last 2 or 3 years as well, they've become a little bit more international, really. And a lot of the guys do speak English. There's very few. It's mainly the staff that don't particularly speak that much English. I mean, I just had a full conversation in French with my sports director, just kind of. I can understand more than what I can speak, and but no, it's good. That's the one thing I'm missing, actually, is not being on the training camps with the guys and actually just being around the team, because I pick up French as I'm going along, kind of thing. Obviously I did GCSE French when I was at school, but other than that, I've just been doing a bit of Duolingo and reading up on my old vocab books and stuff. But you don't particularly take it in as much as what you do if you're just in a French environment. Then you naturally start thinking in French, and that's when you start to think in the language, and I think that's when it really clicks. You start to learn it better.
So is French in the races as well? Is that the go-to language?
It is on our race radio. It's not in the races, but it's on our race radio. So but there's always English guys. So if I'm ever unsure about anything, then there's always guys around that speak some English. So it's not that big a problem. But saying that, I've done 2 or 3 races with them. So barely before the season got stopped, I was literally about to fly off to go and do a race, and then they got cancelled. Then I was about to fly to do a training camp with the team, and it got cancelled. So yeah, it is what it is.
What were your 2020 goals before all this pandemic?
Helping to support Ollie and the other guys, Stein and Lawrence at the Classics. But would have been really nice to have done Roubaix. That was on my list if I was going well for it, which was like last week. And it's hard to say really, because then everyone looks at it. Everyone's feeling different as well in like middle of April, when most people are just taking a break. I mean, as soon as I knew that we were getting stopped, I just when I was in Spain, I was just like, well, there's no point in me even going training, because I'm not training for anything other than getting a fine. Like, we ain't going to be going racing anytime soon. So I was it took a while for it to sink in, I guess, about what the situation was. But then it was worth just, knocking it back for a minute, for a week or two. John. Oh, Charlie's just doing his turbo session. Yeah, so I had like a 2-week kind of reset thing, and then came back to just start trading. Just started up back in England, and like, luckily we've been since I came back from Spain, it's been mega. It's been really, really nice in England. Like, I really can't. Don't think I've ever had a better. April at all.
So there's rumours that the race is going to be moved to autumn. What do you feel about that? Do you think it'll be a completely chaotic calendar?
Pretty crazy. I mean, at the moment, there's the digital Tour of Swiss that's on TV right now. I don't know if you've been watching any of it.
Well, the first stage.
Yeah, I watched.
I think you're getting involved with.
I watched a little bit yesterday, but I mean, I don't actually have a turbo here that's set up for rim brake anymore, because my old one from last year was disc brake, and I tried to get some adapters, but obviously being in Spain, I wasn't using it. It was just here, and then I come back, and then all this happens, and then you try and buy anything related to a turbo train, and it's just completely out of stock, not coming back in stock anytime soon. So luckily, like, it's been really nice outside. I suppose I could get my brother's trap bike on his. He's on the turbo now on his trap bike, so I could jump on that. But other than that, I'm a bit restricted to just going out on the road, which kind of suits me. I'm not too fussed. The whole digital platform racing thing, I've not particularly explored that much of, really. It's just a pure race of watts per kilo. I think that's not my strong point.
Well, where you are as well is like one of the best places to train.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think there's I think that maybe doing like double sessions and possibly doing some stuff on a night would be beneficial. But to be quite honest, it doesn't really interest me that much. I would rather go out on my time trial bike and go and flog myself and go and take some Stravas, or go and do like a local club time trial, like just on my own. I'd rather go do something like that than go on Zwift. But I think that as the restrictions obviously get lifted and stuff, before we actually go racing, we're probably going to have a month in England where we might even be allowed to race in England, in our own countries, before we're allowed to travel. We might be able to do like, time trials, or like organised group rides, or local races, or, even like the local chain gang and stuff like that. I think that'll be the things that'll start up before, obviously, international bike racing does. It'd be a bit weird if everyone's still riding around here and it's like, it's you can't be seen riding in a pair or riding in a group of 3 here, but you're able to go and do an international bike race somewhere. Then, like, I think that it'd be pretty tough if it was like that.
One of the saddest things with all these races getting cancelled is the Tour of Yorkshire was going to start in a red car, which is quite near where you live.
Yeah, I would have liked to have. I mean, the team doesn't race it. The team. No, it wasn't on the team's program. They haven't done it for the last 2 years. So it wasn't on my program anyway. The only way I would have done it is through the national team, possibly. Yeah. If I could have got a guest ride with the national team to do it. My program was the 4 days of Dunkirk, which starts about a day after Yorkshire, so it wasn't. And the 4 days of Dunkirk would have been. I was like really looking forward to it. It's a good race. It was, it's a good race in Belgium. Hopefully, it would have been nice weather and relatively flat. Sprint days, breakaway days, time trial. Like, it really suited me a lot more than what the course did of Yorkshire. For this year, this year's Yorkshire looked bloody hard. Like, there wasn't really a day which was nice. They were all just like relentless. Like the last day normally is each year. Right. Each day was kind of just like that. Just an absolute smash fest.
So, taking it back to the beginning, how did you get involved with cycling? We know that Charlie, he's cycling, and he kind of followed in your footsteps, and you've got Toby as well coming up. So you started.
We all just started riding at the same time. All started with the Cleveland Wheelers, just riding at the local race league, and all started at the same time, so like 2006. So we were all different ages. Yeah, we just progressed from there, really, doing national series races and kids races, junior races, and I mean, to be fair, we started quite young as well. Like, I thought I was quite old coming to it at the time because of everyone else that was already there. But when you look back, you realise how insignificant, like, you know, racing as an under 16 really is. It's just, you think that it's really important when you do it at the time, but it's, you know, it's insignificant.
You also went to the Paris-Roubaix junior edition when you were younger. How was that?
Yeah, that was the last time I rode. I rode it in 2011 and 2012, but I crashed in 2011. I only did about an hour and a half of it, and I crashed like midway through the cobbled sectors somewhere. I mean, the junior edition does like a loop on the flat, and then we come on the course at about, I think, sector 16, and then it counts down to, you know, to 0 to the velodrome, and I crashed and ended myself somewhere like, I think it was below 6 to 10, but the second year was a lot better. The second year I, you know, hung in and I was near the front for most of it, and then the race split up, I think with like 4 or 5 sectors to go. Like the group I was in just completely just split to pieces, and I was just that focused on following the wheel in front that I didn't really notice this big split, and I was like, look at myself. yeah, it was kind of like quite a big regret really, and I rolled in like top 20 just, but you know, the guys that were racing for the top 10, they'd gone. I kind of, because I still had something left in the tank there. I still regret that day, but it was still nice nonetheless to finish in the velodrome and stuff.
So good experience all around.
Yeah, wow. I think experience definitely, because I know exactly what to expect, and I think what I was riding back then, I was riding some like sport Mavic Open Pro or Mavic Reflex rims with like 22mm tubs with like 7 or 8 bar in, like literally massive. That was the first year. Then the second year I used some Casirium ES wheels with like Vittoria Pave tubs on. I think they were 25mm at least back then, and like back then in 2012, you know, 25mm was like a mountain bike tire. You know, it was. Now I don't ride it less than a 28mm, but it's pretty crazy to think what I was using back then and what I did. I even bought some like finger nets for my fingers to put around my knuckles, because I remember from the first year that I couldn't. My hand was for like a week afterwards because my knuckles were banging together and like that hard. I went to the effort of buying these like finger nets to roll, like little rolls to put on my knuckles, so that when they banged together, they cushioned. And it really, really helped actually. And I wore 2 pairs of gloves as well. Like it just made everything like it was like having suspension, which is what you need on those kind of cobbles, because they're the worst things in the world.
So in 2015, you signed with a Continental team, JTL Condor.
JLT.
Also doing uni at the same time.
Yeah.
That year for you.
Midway through uni, signed for JLT, and then I think that might have been the year that I went part-time. Because I did my final year part-time, so I did it over 2 years, just because it was just less work. It was simply, instead of doing all of the course in 1 year, you just did a split 50-50, which was, you know, made it a lot more manageable.
What was the racing like that year? You finished 3rd in the Rutland Classic? Yeah,
it was a good year, actually. First proper experience racing, like, in some UCI races, Tour of Normandy, Tour of Yorkshire that year, the Rutland. Yeah, it was really good actually. Yeah, that was a big stepping stone. I think getting those results. We got a top 10 on stage of Yorkshire that year as well.
Oh yeah, that's true.
One of the sprint stages. Yeah, I just remember being at the front, sat second wheel, coming into the sprint with like 500 meters to go, being like, well, I don't know how I've done this, but here I am, you know. And then got absolutely hounded. I just didn't. I'd never been in that situation in my life, and like, panicked a bit. And I didn't really know how to pace the effort, when to go, what to do, and completely ruined what could have been maybe a top 5 or a top 6, and getting like 9th or something like that. Definitely couldn't have won, but could have done a little bit better than 9th.
So you then went to Pedal Heaven, and you also got involved with the Tour series. How is the Tour Series for you? Because it's just crazy crit racing at like such a pace.
Yeah, it's good fun. I really enjoyed it. Everyone moans about it, but ultimately, it's it's what gives a lot of the teams in the UK like exposure, because it's on TV and stuff like that. And it was good fun. And over the years, I've done loads of rounds.
You won a few as well, quite a few.
Yeah, in the back end, just in 2018, I think won 2, and the time trial, so 3. We had a team time trial, which was so I guess you could count that as a win as well. So yeah, it was. I would never win that many. Not always come like top 10 and them and stuff, but I would never win many, and I was getting put away in the sprint. So if I was going to win it, then I'd have to try and win it solo, which was that was kind of my only way.
In 2018, in the Stevenage one, you kind of just rode away from everyone.
I just remember Stevenage. That was the flat one. Yeah, I remember. It's a really sweeping course. So actually, you with the headwind up the home straight and 2 tight corners at the top, you don't actually need to brake that much for them. You just got to let off the gas really, and then it was a big tailwind down the back straight. So it was just like big flat out like oval really, pretty much, and just railed the corners like so hard. So I had a gap like off the wheel coming out one of the corners, and then just pressed on down the straight, made an effort, and then obviously, as soon as there's a moment of hesitation behind and like someone looks to the side and they don't close the gap, then just go flat out. And I just knew that if I could keep away for 3 or 4 laps, then I would have it, because I knew that they would just start looking at each other, which they did. So yeah, it was fine.
2018, you were riding with Canyon Iceberg at the time.
Yeah, Canyon.
That was kind of your year where you broke through in a way. How was the Tour of Yorkshire that year?
Yeah, it was great. Yorkshire, obviously was.
What happened on stage 1?
Just kept pulling like a train and didn't get caught. Basically, it was. I won the grey jersey before, like in the last 10k. I knew I had that in the bank, so I was kind of done for the day. I was pretty cooked as well, and we were pulling really well as a team. Everyone stayed really committed. Like everyone in the break, there was some pretty strong riders in there as well, so that helped. And obviously a tailwind at the finish favoured us as well. So yeah, it worked really well, and it was just amazing to pull it off. I think that it was kind of good looking back in hindsight, the way that I played it from the back, because it was a headwind finish, and everyone just got so carried away and went so early that they all just blew up and left the last 100 meters just to like crawl to the line, and I still had gas to keep going.
Yeah, because in the sprint it looked like you were just so far back, and then you just came out of nowhere. So it was really the headwind, you were saying?
It was quite a strong headwind, yeah. So I was obviously just surfing off wheels and just waiting for the road to open up, kind of thing. And
like the next day, wearing the leader's jersey.
Yeah, that was great. I punctured though, like about an hour into the stage. It was really hard, and it never settled down the race. I punctured, and it was a nightmare because I had to spend so much energy. Like that day, I spent so much more energy than like even the breakaway day, I think, just to get back in the race. Because when the race settled down and stopped, when the breakaway had gone, like I was still chasing flat out the back. So I only just got back to the group, and then they started riding again, and then it was such a hard day, that one. And so then I had 2 really hard days on the trot, and then the third day wasn't easy either. So then I was still just getting more and more into a hole, and then obviously the last day was just disgusting. So yeah, it was what should have been 2 relatively like conservative days in the middle and helped the team a bit more. Ended up turning to being like just meaninglessly hard for no real benefit.
How would you compare racing in Yorkshire compared to other places? Because you've raced everywhere. You've won stages in China as well.
Yeah. It's just different racing in Yorkshire. Racing in Britain's one thing, but racing in Yorkshire is another. Just because there's so many people like that, that are out on the road watching, and being from Yorkshire as well, there's lots of support, and that's really nice. Yeah, it's just good for. And I know quite a lot of the roads now actually, because from riding around there and training, or The race going on there the previous years and stuff, I kind of know myself now. So yeah, it's always good.
What was the nationals like that year in 2018?
Yeah, it was. That was my target for the year, pretty much. I mean, I wasn't even preparing for like Yorkshire. I was just preparing for the nationals that year because I knew they were in the northeast, and obviously it was pretty big, and I wanted to just. I literally all I did that year, and I'd come from the track. All I do is train for doing a 1 hour flat out time trial. That was all I trained for. Didn't even train for road races or anything. Just trained for flat out 1 hour time trial, and yeah, I mean, to perfection. I'd good gas.
You finished a second to Geraint Thomas in front of Alex Dowsett.
Yeah, if I wasn't as fat as what I was, I might have done a bit better. But I couldn't have pushed the pedals any harder, put it that way. So I was quite pleased with it. Yeah.
It must have been great for your confidence seeing him win the Tour de France and being like, I only finished 37 seconds slower than him.
Yeah, I think that he could have. I mean, he was just riding to it on his radio. He wasn't. When he wanted to light it, like, I mean, I remember looking at all the pacings and stuff and the splits, and like he just gassed it and then got his gap and then just rode to my pace after that. He was just riding off the time checks. So like, once he had his gap, his buffer, then he just rode at my pace. He just rode out like a lunatic, put a ridiculous amount of time into me on like the first lap or something, and then just rode at my pace pretty much for the rest of it, which it's kind of like the way to do it if you want to be sure of, and I think his managers and stuff didn't want him taking any risks and stuff, obviously with the tour coming up, and there were some sketchy corners on that, and like on that TT course, and obviously I was just like taking my life in my own hands, going around all the corners, taking all the Stravas on the technical bits and stuff, and he was obviously being quite conservative with those sections, just because you don't want to pin it.
So you also did a lot of races in the Netherlands, and you got a few podium spots.
Yeah, 2018 was good. Yeah, I really enjoyed doing the Holland Cup. I think I finished second overall that year. I didn't do them all, but I did most of them. But they were really good races. I really enjoyed doing them. Flat, windy, just good hard races.
What was it like going from a continental to a world tour? What was the biggest changes when you signed for Katusha?
Just the level, like the staff and just the help and the assistance and everything, the way things are done, and everyone has a job, and it's all like, you're not used to just speaking to one person. You're speaking to like so many different people all the time, in different departments, and it's about learning whose job or roles they are in different places. And it's the same with AG2R now. It's just like learning the whole process again. But I know what to expect from last year in terms of different roles and who does what in the team and where to go if you have questions, or to speak to other people about things, and just how big an organisation these teams are. Pretty much, they employ a lot of staff, and learning everyone's names, and obviously being in French is even a little bit harder now as well, because not all of them do speak English. So it's one of those things that it just takes time to learn. But it's like any environment, you spend enough time in it, you get used to it.
So what was it like at the end of the year when you found out that Katusha were closing as a rider? You were still under contract with Katusha.
Yeah, obviously they had the deal. They managed to figure out a deal with Israel, and they didn't have enough places. Like they'd already got it. Israel already had a lot of riders that were already signed for the following year. And they didn't have enough places in order to take the license and take the riders that were under contract with Katusha. So either way, some people had to go. And we were all encouraged to find ourselves a ride, basically. And I think that if you could find a ride somewhere, then you would take it, because there was no certainty that Israel were going to take you on as a rider, because they didn't have the capacity. There's a certain, you can only take 31 riders as a team, and if you've already got 25 and there's 11 guys that are under contract, you can't take all 11 riders. So it's just the rules. But I think the communication could have been handled a little bit better. We didn't really hear much about it, the situation. But in the end, it all worked out all right, and I'm able to ride for a team that wanted me to ride for them. So I'm happy for that and the opportunity. But I'm happy for the opportunity, but I've not really had a chance to do any racing. Seems like I mean, I did a race in February. I did GP Marseille, helped the team a bit in that, but I just had a cold the week before, so it was pretty useless. And then did La Semaine, one of the first Belgian classics, a couple of days after Omloop, and that was just carnage. It was raining, snowing, and the race just exploded when we got onto the final laps. And before we knew it, 60 guys rode away in the last 60k, and that was it. Wasn't a part of it. So they're the only 2 races I've done so far. It's just been and I always find that I need a couple of races or a month just to get used to racing again, kind of thing. So yeah, hopefully we'll be able to do some racing in the UK. I'm hoping before get thrown into doing World Tour stuff again straight away.
And finally, what's kind of your motivation? What's your key target? Is it Paris-Roubaix? Get a top there,
for the classics for the end of the year. I want to be good. I want to have my power back, that I've not quite got at the moment, just through lack of training, really. But this is when you look at the grand scale of things, if we're not racing till August, this is kind of like December, maybe the end of November. If I was looking to start racing in February, so we've still got quite a bit of time to build. And it's good not to be you don't want to be on pinging form now for a digital Tour of Swiss. You want to be going well in August, September time, October time. And I think we're just going to be raced stupid in that period. It's going to be really condensed calendar. There's not going to be any opportunity to take a break from the start of August until the start of November. Is just going to be flat out, pretty much. Dual, triple programs. It's going to be pretty crazy. So targets for the classics. Well, when I speak to my team about the race program, about what's been decided, if there's some races, then hopefully Paris-Roubaix in October. That would be great. And the World Championships again, if that takes place, I'd love to have to go at the team time trial again or the individual at the World Championships. But again, that's quite a long way off at the moment. I have to get some power up for that. That's a good point. I forgot to ask you about that. So you were in the Tour of Yorkshire. No, you were in the World Championships in Yorkshire, in Harrogate, doing the team time trial. How was it being a home rider, and did the World Championships live up to expectation in Harrogate? Yeah, again, I think it's just a once in a lifetime experience. Going there and just to even participate in it was great. To get a medal, never thought that we would we'd pull that off. We were very fortunate with our ride and the way that we rode it. Fortunate that another team had a mechanical as well, which I guess it's just one of those things. But it was a pretty crazy day, and I think that was one of the best days that I'll always remember. Actually, it's the Yorkshire World Championships. So you got your T-shirt on? Yeah, Yorkshire. Okay, that's all my questions. Thank you very much, Harry, for joining us. We'll look out for you on the World Tour. Yeah. Hopefully got some races to do at the end of the year. All right, see you later. No worries, boss. That's it for this interview. A big thanks to Harry, and why not check out the interview I did with his younger brother, Charlie Tanfield, or any of our other lockdown interviews. And as always, thank you for watching, and see you next time.